I had a project coming in to this assignment that I already wanted to make and had been actually already working on. And so the card making and being card game thing was sort of useful in that I just kind of clicked it over and over and over again until I found one that clicked for me, which, as I understand it, was like kind of the point. So I guess first let's talk about conflict as generative. This dude, Steven Crowder, is ostensibly a comedian, a conservative comedian. The only big problem is that he's really, really not funny, and he's just kind of an asshole. Watching his stuff as part of my research was generative in the sense that it really drilled down on the stuff that I was trying to like disassemble. Namely, the idea of like gender norms or sex organs determining like how your role in society. James Dean was kind of, at least in this movie, the poster boy for gender norms of the 1950s, which are fantastical. Ultimately, the point of what I'm trying to go for is to communicate and find some kind of way to resolve conflict. And I think part of it is to like communicate, a la the picture, so that the people who have disparate opinions might be able to come together and like understand each other. The point being that there's been this campaign over the last number of decades to create a culture war, which is now like basically it's a meme war or whatever, where both sides are so entrenched that there's no way for compromise or understanding to occur. They're just like everybody's demons on either side. So then what? It's just an infinitely extending horizon of tragedy and anger and conflict over conflict over conflict that never really resolves. It just kind of keeps going forever. And that infinitely extending horizon is being egged on or generated by pundits and people on the extremes on both sides of all of the things, of every side, for their own gain. And it seems like they're kind of just ushering people into the tent, the big circus tent, which feels a lot less like cartoonish nowadays as it does like sinister. There's this feeling of you have to pick a side, you have to know all the things and be completely correct in order to have any kind of discussion about what should be done and what should be done. It can feel, at least for me, completely overwhelming to try and figure out what can or should or will or what I will be doing, and even more so as an artist to create something that can communicate any number of these things to anybody. So nominally, the idea is to create something that's sort of called like a hyper object. 1984 has a kind of similar idea where they have the 2 minutes hate, where it's this government approved time for everybody to express themselves, their emotions on a enemy, on someone that the government wants them to hate, which is kind of an appropriate metaphor in a sense, because there's so many people on the conservative side, at least, that are targeting trans or queer or non-binary identifying people as this demon, as this thing that should be, they're attacking our family units, they're going to destroy America, and that's such a fucking stupid thing to do. So I'm trying to create something that's amusing and communicates an idea. It's something that you don't need to like have a bunch of background to understand, and nominally it's something that you can express your emotions onto as a hyper object of its own. In a sense, I'm trying to create maybe like a ritual, a magic spell, or however you want to think about it. Like sorcery, as the American tradition would have it, is this idea of like intention and focusing and having a bunch of people pay attention to a thing affects reality. And I think that that's true to an extent. And for some people, the magical aesthetic might work. It might be convincing of taking this thing and doing with it what you would like to do. But there's also this side, like we're in the age of reason, of science, supposedly, and people want or need something concrete that they can grasp, that they can hold. Hopefully something that they can grasp, that they can hold, that isn't like a trap, that isn't something that feels tragic or violent to them. Just like a little moment of, oh, now I get it, and less like a biting torso that takes off your arms. So the thought is to make an object that represents the sex or the gender binary, and allow people to hold it, to have that idea in their hands, and then do with it what they may. This is one rendering of that. A different thought would be to have it, there be many of them, not just the one thing that people pass from hand to hand, but many of them arranged in this large conglomeration like this, just in an array of a simplistic form that isn't specifically sex organs like the other one, but is just like implying the idea. But the thought of implication, it isn't all that exciting to me. I mean, if I look at the prompt, I don't forget to laugh, and something about this makes me very happy. I like the idea of there being like 100 of these things just rolling around and having people laugh at it as well. Because I think ultimately that is the point. It is a laughable thing to identify yourself by, to define yourself in society by, these bits that dangle off you or whatever. So I want to make it seem fragile and cast them in porcelain with a mold maybe like this, at a scale that you can hold in your hand. Because I mean, my ideology or whatever would be that this binary is fragile. It is easy to smash, which is like the idea of the project. Smash the binary. It's something that you can hold, people can interact with, and then they can release it. They can remove it as a thing that is affecting them, or a thing that they accept as being truth.